Hello guys, welcome back. Now in this session we are going to start discussing about count and count index. So let's look into the agenda. What are the topics we are going to cover in this session? In this session we will start with the demo and where we will understand the use case of count and count index. So let's jump into the Visual Studio Code where we will understand the concept of count and count index. As count and count index is one of the important concept of HCL language, that is HashiCorp configuration language. So we must have to understand it. So now let's jump into the Visual Studio Code where we will understand this concept. We are into the Visual Studio Code and this is the basic setup for our demo. And over here what we want to do, we want to create 3 users within the IAM of AWS. So let's look into that, how we will create it. So the first step, we need to create a resource block. So over here I will specify which resource I want to create. I want to create IAM user 1, and over here I will specify the block name first. For example, user 1, this is the block for user 1, and over here I will specify name and the path. So first over here I will specify the name user 1 and the path I'm going to tell that system. So this way one user gets created. So let's copy and paste it 3 times. So our 3 user will be created. Our requirement would be fulfilled. So this is pretty much straightforward. But the problem with this thing is that suppose if our requirement is getting changed and now they are requesting 25 users should be created, then that means you have to repeat the same line of code 25 times, and that is not a very feasible solution. Even though you are achieving the requirement, but the problem is that we are breaking the drive principle rule, that is don't repeat yourself. So here the count and count index will come to rescue us from violating the drive principle rule. So how we will write the code for count and count index? Let's look into that. Let's remove it and give it a name. I am going to give it a name called all user list. And over here I need to specify count equal to 3. Now the next step, what we need to do, we need to create a variable file. So we need to specify variables.tf, enter, and over here we need to specify the type of variable. I'm going to tell that it should be a list. So first step, we need to specify the keyword variable, and then we will need to specify all user list, and within that we need to tell that it is of type list. Next we need to create a terraform.tf vars file so that we will pass the values to the variable. So let's create it, terraform.tf vars, and from here we will pass the user list, and I will tell that user list equal to, and we need to specify the values user 1, user 2 and user 3. So these value I am passing. So now the next step over here, you will see that we are not using the variable over here. So we need to specify the variable. So we will tell that var, and over here we will specify user list, and within that to iterate the list we need to specify count.index. So with the help of this count.index, what will happen, it will go to the list and pick each of the user one by one and create this particular resource. So with the help of this block of code, what will happen that even though whenever if our requirement is getting changed, suppose 20 users come, so we need to specify 20 over here, and then we need to pass the values. Even though whatever the values it is coming over here, we will specify those 20's value. So our code block will repeat 20 times and it will create this resource, that is our AWS IAM user. So for this case we are going to create only 3 resources. So now let's save it, save all the files. So now the next step, we need to run it. So to run it we need to go to the terminal, and over here first we need to initialize it. So let's do the initialization. We will tell that terraform init, enter. So it is initializing the provider. So now let's run the terraform plan. So now it has given the configuration plan. Let's look into that. So over here you will see that it is specifying that we are going to create 3 resources, and which of those 3 resources, you will see that this is resource, that is user 3, which we have specified, then user 2, and then over here user 1. So all these things are coming from the list which we have specified over here. So in case if the number of users is going to be increased, you can use this list and pass the values to the variable, and then it will pick it and create the specified number of users. One thing you should make sure that whatever the number of users which you are passing over here, the same kind of entry you should make it over here. For example, currently we are passing 3 values, so that's the reason we have specified 3 over here. If you are passing 20 values, then we should specify over here 20. And this is what I wanted to demonstrate you in this session. So let's conclude our session. So guys, in this session we have started with a demo and we have understand the significance of count and count index. Count and count index prevent us from violating the drive principle. So on this note, I am stopping over here. See you in the next session. Till then, bye bye, take care.